Welcome to the Pictures for REH panel, and you're welcome for the fascinating display of technological expertise up here. I'm Rusty Burke, Patrice Louinet to my left, Paul Herman to my right. Says nothing about their politics. Paul and I have no idea why we're here, so we're going to let Patrice do most of the talking.
I can't believe that.
Paul's here to advance the slides.
Good to have a skill. That's right.
Well, I think we can begin with this picture back there. And I suppose everyone is familiar with this picture because that's the one when you discover Bob Howard, you usually add this picture. So the background to this photo, we have two versions actually. The first one, this was taken for Nobel Prize, who Bob Howard was dating at the time. In December 1934, he went to Brownwood, he dressed up, and so he had his picture taken of him. The other version is the one we have in a letter Bob Howard sent to Lovecraft. He said he dressed up and had the photo made because his mother wanted to have a nice photo of him. So we don't know which version is true. Maybe both are true. He was playing, the girlfriend and the mother at the same time. Anyway, so when Bob's first book came out in the 1940s and 50s, this was the only known photo at the time. And I think you won't disagree with me when I say that nothing could be further than what Bob would look every day in his life, because the full suit and tie is simply not him. And so the Al Capone photo, as we have come to dub this picture, nothing could be, so different from who he was.
That's Al Capone for the rest of you.
Oh, Capone is Italian, Sicilian, actually.
I thought you were talking about the hat.
Oh, you have nothing to say about that? You don't care, really,
About what?
about that? This photo?
No, one thing, the only aspect of this photo that is notable to me nowadays,
Mike.
you see that his nose looks like it hooks. It's a trick of the light. Larry Richter showed that to me years ago. It's the way the photographer, that was apparently the fashion back then, was to have a Roman nose. And so photographers would light you to make it look like you had a Roman nose. Bob's nose actually sloped more. And you'll see that you see that when you see the side views and stuff, so forth.
What year was this?
1934.
Yeah, December 1934. You commented that.
That's from the Pecan of, that's from Brownwood High School Pecan. That was their yearbook. So that's Bob as a high school senior.
One thing we haven't mentioned is that there are 37 surviving photos of Howard, which is not a whole lot. And it so happens that 15 of those, I think, 15? Maybe 10, not 15, but 10 of those were discovered in the past 15 years, which is rather incredible. And hopefully there are some surviving ones somewhere out there in someone's attic. We are going to talk about that in a while when we come to the Butler photos. Paul?
When we talk about Howard detectives, finding these photos is the work of people like Patrice, that figures out who might possibly have photos, figures out how to find them, calls them up, figures out how to talk them into letting us even see them or get copies or buy them or whatever we're going to do. He does a fabulous job at this stuff.
Sometimes we just get lucky. I remember I was with Rusty here way back in 2001, and that was when we met this lady, Esther Anschel, and she was named Esther after Bob's mother. And I was with Rusty and Glenn Law. And so we came to see her, and she had this new photo at the time, which is the one with Bob sitting on the, standing on the porch with his dog Patches. And I think Paul should be in a position to show that in a few seconds. Otherwise, I'm going to have to talk about something. I can do it, yeah, but I'm not Paul.
There it is, it's over there.
Better call Paul.
Where's it at?
Oh, sorry.
It's hard to see the small side. Is it?
Oh, yeah, over there.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, okay, yeah. I got it. There you
I made a good job.
Yeah, Miss Hounshill sat in front of us at the table in the dining room at the Howard House, and she was talking about Dr. Howard delivered her and named her, she was named Hester after Mrs. Howard. And then she just sort of shyly says, Robert gave me a picture, would you like to see it? And I'm thinking, okay, it's gonna be the one with the hat. And she pulls this picture out and hands it over, and jaws drop. None of us had ever seen that before. So she said he had been going through like a little shoebox or something full of photographs, organizing them for his mother or something, and he just pulled one out and he said, here, you want that? She also had a picture of herself standing on the running board of Dr. Howard's car. But all you saw was a running board and a door behind her because she was only about 2. This is a terrific photo. It shows a lot about the house. Mrs. Howard loved plants, according to everybody. They were like, she really loved plants. She liked to keep the place pretty. So she's got what looked like, Shelley, are those morning glories on the ivy growing up there? But you can see kind of in the shadows there on the porch that she's got some planters with flowers in them. Looks like they're in front of the door.
Maybe they always came in the back.
Zoom back out a little bit. There's no steps there. They must have had to go down
Probably.
to the end of the porch and around. That's interesting.
Can you zoom in Bob's head?
Nice haircut.
Yeah, nice.
Boy, got some ears.
And look at the hairline. We'll get back to that in a while. Pay attention. Yeah, we'll have to talk, Indy.
I'm pointing at you, French.
Okay. Okay, see the nose? It's not hawk-like. It's got a little slope to it. Now the hairline's still down here.
You pay
It's
attention
not.
to
It's
that.
not up here. It's down here.
And this is really the way I have my mental image of Bob Howard. This is the
Yeah.
Bob Howard when I want to
Yeah.
picture in my head.
Yeah.
So this was 1932, something like that. If I remember.
What's the date on that? 32?
32, I think it was, yeah. I think the date is, I think the year is written on the back of the original, which is the bankrupt in California.
Bob, have you established where that is?
No, could be anywhere. Well, that has never stopped you before.
Yeah.
What can I say? Yes. Many times I probably have a copy of my hard drive. I have
And,
sure do.
and if you want to see a national photo of Bob Howard, this is pretty much everything we have. About all the other pictures is Bob playing out with his friend, doing cosplay before cosplay existed.
Yeah.
And remember, this is 1920s, 1930s crossplays. And here is this guy, dressed up as a pirate, as a detective, as a prize fighter, as caveman. And imagine that the reaction of the people in the crossplays, 1920s, 1930s, and here is a guy just having fun with his friend. Take a look at those pictures.
This is probably about 13. They probably had just moved into the Cross Plains house. So that's him standing behind the house in Cross Plains.
Ready to whip out his pistol.
And he has a pistol. So I think he's playing something or whatever. He's not packing. He's
Yeah,
packing.
it's two gun.
Two-gun.
It's Two-Gun Bob.
Yeah.
Before it was Two-Gun Bob.
That's,
So you're in 1926, 27 cross planes, and this is the way you play with your friend.
Bob and Clyde and Truett would go to Clyde's uncle Ben Stone's ranch down near Brownwood, and they would just go back, and there were some caves back there, they said, and they would just go cavorting, sometimes in the all together, and taking silly photos like this, or the Beachcombers arguments was one. I think that was back then.
We don't know.
Well, that one was probably taken by Truett, because that was Clyde and Bob, so Truett probably took the picture. And that's probably, we think that's Bob and Truett, Bob to the left with the machete, and then Clyde probably took that one.
I have a question about this picture. Okay, it's pretty obvious that it's Bob Howard on the left, and that's been identified as Truett on the right. Okay, the guy on the right, if you have the photo where the three guy with the swords are the guy on the right in this photo is the guy in the left on that photo.
Which guy? Guy on the
Yeah,
left?
probably
Okay, I'm
the
aware.
nose is.
I say that your Clyde, your Truett, the nose, it's unfortunate that he's in front of that branch because I think you're getting some light through the leaves that's making the nose look funny. Really?
But you're saying the one on the left is Bob?
Yeah.
No, he's saying that the one on the left is the one on the right.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I'm thinking is, that does not look like Robert E. Howard.
Well,
The hairline is wrong, the hair is wrong,
if I may though,
and he's short.
if you really want the dude on the rock to be Bob, this guy's got curly hair.
I was gonna say, this might be the dude on the rock, yeah.
Maybe Bob went from straight to curly hair for a while, just to have fun.
Well, you know, I'm halfway inclined to start agreeing with you because his chin doesn't look right either.
Yeah.
And chin was more like a chin in the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you pull back, you'll notice that,
Yeah, the nose.
yeah, it's got
Pretty
this
straight
tapered
angle.
nose.
Yeah. Okay, so now you have to decide who it is.
Yeah.
So we're down to 36
This is the first
pictures.
interactive panel.
Yep, so now we're down to 36 pictures. Thank you. So we're working our way down.
As we were saying, up to a few years ago, we only had 30-something known pictures of Bob Hart. And one day, like 6 years ago, and I was rereading some old interviews made by Sprague de Camp and his wife when they were working on Dark Valley Destiny. And there was this interview beginning that, oh, we have old photos of Bob and whoever, and they were dressed as pirates, and they were not children, they were adults. And then Catherine Krupp de Camp arrived and say, oh, does anyone want some more coffee, whatever? And the conversation stops here, never gets picked up again. So what I do is, I start trying to find the descendants of the people who were interviewed. It took me a while, and then I had an address, so I sent an email, and my email went something like, I'm Patrice Louinet, I'm from Paris, France, and I was wondering if by any chance you wouldn't have old black and white pictures in your attic of someone of your grandparents dressed as pirates. And yet, you know, kind of French version of a Nigerian spam scam, you know. And the guy replies, no way, I don't have that. And 2 days later, I get a second email. Hey, you were right. And he starts sending me 3 scans, and including this one. And long story short, 2 years later, that was 2 years ago, I think, when I arrived here, he lives in, forget where. He drove here, and he gave me an envelope, and there were 6 photos in there, and he says, these are yours. And these pictures, and this one is probably one of my favorite Hart picture. It's so him. Can you zoom in on the Bob Hart the pirate? We are in 1924, something like that. Apparently it was August 1924, if we are to believe the penciled in annotation on the back. Look at Bob Hart.
1924, so he's 18.
He's 18, yeah.
Look how his hair sweeps down over
Look
his
at all that
forehead.
hair on the forehead. Kind of long and roots down on his forehead.
So he has a bandana, and this picture is just crystal clear. And these are Leroy and Faustine Butler, who were
That-
his
that's
neighbors.
That was,
Notice
and
that
that's
long
their
chin?
house behind. So this is in the yard between the Howard house and the Butler house.
Can you zoom in on the chin?
So we are very far from the studio portrait with bow and tie.
Must still a posed photo though. Not sure what she's doing, but okay. Oh, there you go. That's right.
Now, Does Bob still have his do-rag on his head there?
No.
No.
Look at all that long hair, man.
He had
Looking
long
down
hair.
over his forehead.
Look at the hairline, indeed. Just
Can't see
saying,
the hairline.
just saying.
His hair is coming down over his almost to his brow.
You can see
And,
the side
oh,
of
do
the
you have
butler
the
head now, so
Astor and
it's
Patch
down.
photo, Paul?
No. I'm sorry, there's another one I missed.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Someone in the
That's the
back was
one.
asking who those other two are again?
The two what?
The other two people in those photos.
The
They're
other
asking-
pirate picture.
Oh, the butler.
They're the
Oh,
Butler,
they're
they're the
butlers.
Butler kids from next door.
So which one
Brother
of
and
these is Bob?
sisters.
Pardon?
Which one of these is
Someone in
Bob?
the back was asking.
Okay.
Which one of these is Bob?
Bob's wearing the smoky hat.
Yeah. This one is, the original is like that. It's a little blurry.
There's
too bad.
another one
And there's another one when there's.
over there.
Oh, the dude on the rock is over there.
I call this one Bob's Gomer Pile picture. That's about as slack-jawed as you can look, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can imagine they were making up all those kind of stories and taking pictures at the same time. So Indy found that one.
I did. This is, this photo is from the collection of August Derleth. I had a chance to meet the fellow who bought the collection from August Derleth's widow. And he showed up at Windy City PulpCon 3 years ago, and he had just a one page of photocopied photos that he had from the collection. And Morgan Holmes and I went over and we looked at them, and we were very surprised to see this one, because this one is, without question, Robert E. Howard. Rusty and I have identified the spot. It's at the back of the house, and Bob is standing about where the back door of the house is now. Well, we found these photos. There was a photo like this. We call this one Serape Bob. He's ready to go to war there. He's got his gun all tied down. He's ready to rock and roll. And then we found an original photo of the one of the last photos that he took when he had his mustache. He's standing near the cotton bales at the railroad yard. We found that one. And we also found, there was a copy of the Fort McCavett postcard. And then we found the dude on the rock, is that right?
And the dude on the rock.
Dude on the rock.
And this is, at this precise moment, I'm going to show you something and ask for your opinion. Here is a dude on the rock. So the original is really small, really small. The quality is exactly what you get here. It's just so quality. And on the back, this came from Derleth. And on the back of this is written REH, but it's in August Derleth writing. Question. Now the other pictures are all noted, all have an annotation, and either signed by Bob or August Derleth would inscribe REH. So he identified the people on the photos. And this one is REH in Derleth's hand. Question. Who is the dude on the rock?
Doesn't look like
I mean, the consensus here,
Okay,
I wouldn't say everyone, but most of us don't believe this is Bob.
Pull back, the guy is dressed like Robert E. Howard. He's got his shirts rolled up like Robert E. Howard. Look at those forearms. He's got longish arms. His pants are short. Got the shoes that Howard wore. If you zoom in on his face, you can see that he's got dark eyebrows, and he's got that same chin. The nose is about the right shape. His lips are pursed, but if you look between the bottom of his nose and the bow in his lips, well, that's prominent in Howard photos. He's got a large space between the bottom of his nose and the top of his lips. The thing about the hair, well, my supposition on the hair is that it was a very hot day. He was sweating. Novelin Price Ellis said that he liked to run his hands through his hair. So maybe he ran his hands through his hair and it kind of matted back like that. So my contention is this is Robert E. Howard.
And it might be the pursed lips that throw people off, 'cause he always
Yeah.
had a closed
The
mouth.
facial shape is the same, he's got that elongated face.
What about the ears?
That's what I'm saying.
The ears.
What's the date?
You got another picture?
Oh, we have no idea.
It had to be later.
We have no idea.
Yeah,
I mean, if it was sent to death, probably 1933 or later,
yeah.
because Bob started corresponding with August Derleth in December 1932. And
He's got that big Josie Wales pistol there.
yeah,
too.
sure.
You know, he's
I mean,
all-
everything about this picture is right, except the hairline. For me, the hairline is my very first impression when I saw this picture. It's not Bob Howard.
Could he start to have a receding hairline at this point? It's like later in his life.
Yeah, but you don't find that in the other pictures, which date from the same timeline. So,
Isn't he in a hat in most of those other pictures though?
sorry,
How many of
Wearing
those
a
other
hat?
pictures from that time?
the one with the hat, the one in,
If you look at the Serape Bob photo, you
Yeah.
can see he's got a hat on, but you can also see a tuft of hair down over his forehead. There's a slight tuft of hair over his forehead.
What I could see on this from a photography perspective is, especially if he has, run his hand through his hair like that, if he has been sweating, the amount of sunlight, this is a very overexposed photo, but the amount of light there would actually make the hairline look farther back than it is, because you can see, the front of the scalp right there through the base of the hair, especially if he's been sweating. That light will basically essentially be magnified by the moisture and sweat. So from a photography perspective, this definitely could be him, but the light, it's hitting at the right angle to give that effect. I know a lot of people like myself with receding hair, we have to be lit certain ways, otherwise we look, pretty bald. So.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I've heard the
I mean,
Light you in a hat.
yeah. Just one. When I got this picture, my blink reaction. This is not Bob Howard. If I try to think about it, yeah, everything seems to fit. August Derleth, RAH on the back, the gun, the look, everything seems correct. But my gut reaction tells me this is not Bob Howard. There are several questions over there. Yeah.
Can you see the inside, the pattern of his ear good enough in this picture to compare it to others? Because that's like.
Oh, Rusty is a resident ear specialist.
that-
You wouldn't believe the email I got from him a few days ago.
And again, there's nothing here, there's nothing you can see here
There's
that's
nothing that-
inconsistent with it being Bob Howard. This part of the ear, well,
The height of the ear to the eyes, I think you look at it, of course.
if you can switch back to the studio one real quick.
Cartilage on the inside.
Should have put those two side by side. Didn't think about that.
And just blow it up to where to his ear. So for Bob Howard, this part of the ear right here slopes upwards. And like, I was blowing another photograph off because this part went straight. So I'm like, that's not Bob Howard, but there's nothing in the dude with the rock. It looks like this does go up. So I'm with Patrice. My initial reaction looking at it is that does not look like Bob Howard.
Well, you
But if you
also wanna
analyze
look at-
every little piece, you say there's nothing there that it couldn't be.
Well, if you look at the height of the ear goes, because people's ears are in different places on the side of their head, it kind of goes from the top of the eyebrow to the
Right.
bottom of the nose, right?
Right.
So if we look at the other one, top of the eyebrow to the bottom of the nose is maybe a little higher.
Yeah.
It might be a little higher ears.
This,
That's not way off.
here, the ear lobe doesn't
Louder
look,
mic so people in the back.
Oh, I was just mumbling that if you look at the height of the, if you look at the height of the, people's ears are at different heights relative to the rest of their facial features. So I was saying, if you look on the portrait photo, you can see it kind of goes from his ear goes from the top of the eyebrow to the bottom of the nose. It's about maybe a little higher than at the bottom. When you look at the rock photo, does it kind of fit that same general area? That just a little above the nose, and that seems pretty close.
and this is one where, the fact that this is so fuzzy, you can't really make out detail, like the lobe on this one doesn't look like it's quite as loose as in the studio portrait, but
That's
it's
the other
because,
side of his
Yeah, it's a
head.
different ear.
and it's also really hard to tell because it's such a fuzzy photograph.
And there's sunlight coming from behind.
the sunlight, one of the reasons I think now that, you know, looking at it, one of the reasons that it doesn't look like Bob to me is the face is too thin, but that's because of the amount of sunlight on the left.
What I would like someone with good Photoshop skill to add a hat on Bob's head. Really, to get rid of the hairline thing, which is the thing which bothers us, and see if we get a likeness with a hat or a cap or whatever, bandana. And what?
Anybody here got really good facial recognition software?
Well, no, my wife is a professional photographer, I could have that done.
Okay, let's send you a scan.
Okay.
One of the things which makes me think that this is not Bob is I own the original to that picture. And so, logically, oh, this is Bob Hardy. This would be to my advantage. I still don't think it's him. Any other question?
The angle of perspective as well.
Thinking about the hairline, what was his father's hairline like? Was his dad going bald? I've never seen him without a hat.
Do you have the dark hard photo?
I don't think so.
You got an internet connection?
We got all kinds of stuff.
Do you have an internet connection?
I don't think so.
Here.
You want one?
Can you
Warned
put
about
a year?
Frank's and savings like that. Don't make yourself decide.
Yeah, what about photo 23?
Photo number 23.
Sorry, it just went away. It just went away, both of you. Right there. Okay, so what you got
Go
here?
to REH Picks.
Oh, sorry.
And Dr. Howard.
Portrait.
Okay.
Yeah, that's,
Rather high forehead, yeah. Now, we don't always get our hairline from our father, though. This is a McElroy head, not a Burke head.
Rob and his dad.
Yeah.
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 Is there any other?
No, fill in back.
Him with his head tilted back, is that, the perspective of that is from a low angle. Every other photo, like the portrait photo, that I could think of, he's got his head more down, which gives him greater weight under his chin and a different look. But if you take a shot from, as the gentleman who was speaking on photography, same thing, you're changing the perspective and you're changing the way you're looking at the face. I know the face looks somewhat different, but that could explain an awful lot.
This picture of him when he was about 9.
Look it up though.
Oh, you know that? There's another one. Same one, better quality.
Oh, the big picture?
That's cropped.
Yeah, it's cropped.
And the one on the left.
Yeah, yeah. I have a high res one, it's a low res.
So this was taken in February 1918 near Galveston.
Oh, so he's 13? No,
He's
1918. 12? He's 12.
He's 12. And so you have Bob on the left, and his father, and this is Solomon Chambers, who used to be a doctor in Cross Plains. Then he moved away
Crosscut.
to Cross
Chambers
Plains,
is
right?
lived in
Yeah.
Crosscut.
And then they moved down to somewhere close to Galveston. And this is Dioma Chambers, who was Doc Chambers' daughter, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And this is in Alto Loma, which is a very small place. So. Oh, there's the back of the number 6 Galveston back.
Oh, yeah. Makes it a little easier to know what it is.
That's it, Dr. Dioma Chambers.
Dr. Chambers was one of Dr. Howard's best friends, and the two of them would discuss not only medicine, but theological stuff. Particularly, they were both into, at the time, what was called New Thought movement. So you had Yogi, what was it, Ramachaka or something. 14 lessons in yogi philosophy and stuff like. They were very into that, but from a Christian perspective. So it was always that it was always there. But Dr. Chambers was he was a doctor, but then at the time that Robert would have known him. He was a pharmacist down in Crosscut. He had a little drugstore, but mainly he was a farmer.
Bob and Patch.
This is a negative block. It was one of the ways they would print photos. And this is from the Tevis Clyde Smith collection in Texas A&M. They've got a couple of these. That's what it looks like. The whole thing. It's a really thick piece of wood that they laid some materials onto, and then they negative the print onto there. So you can. This is what you use to make the photographs, make the actual prints from. And I thought that was really interesting when I saw that when I was going through the collection. That was very strange. Yeah, you'd have to shoot it, reverse it, and then you could tell it had gotten kind of chewed up a little with probably use. It wasn't stored in anything. It was just. So there's another one in here too.
Is there a better version of that one with Bob and Patch?
No.
Well, only in the book.
In the book. It's not technically a better version.
No, it's very pixelated in the book.
So this
Well,
is,
not pixelated. It's
and this one you can maybe recognize. This is that Bob boxing pose one where he's doing that. You know, where he's got his arms up there like that.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty chewed up. You can tell.
Do you have the on your?
I never really noticed how his eyebrows kind of run off the side of his head and down. It's really weird how his eyebrows, how far down they come on each side. It makes for a very intense look, I guess.
The angle of the right ear is really interesting compared to the other photo all around. That ear sticks out on the rock, but the ear is almost flat to the profile.
Well, on the youthful photo, you can see his other ear actually poking out a little on the side there, right?
Yeah.
Here was his turn to slide a different angle on this one.
Yeah,
He had grown into his ears again.
that's right. And some of those other earlier photos, he's got, those ears are flopped out there.
Are all the Glenn photos? Are they still in the Glenn papers?
Yeah,
The photos of Glenn.
yeah. I only brought one
Yeah.
original. So.
H.P. Lovecraft on the left, Frank Belknap Long on the right.
Do you have the photo in the back?
No, I don't have the back.
So on the back of it says H.P. Lovecraft and Frank F.B. Long, photo taken by W.B. Talman in Brooklyn, New York, 1931. Philip Grill, Grill, so I guess that's where it was taken at, February 21st. Now, then underneath it says Philip Grill, February 21st, 1960, and maybe that's when somebody gave it to Glenn. I don't know what the other part means. Anyway, that's the back.
Philip Grill is not the name of the place. Philip Grill is the name of the owner.
Oh, okay.
He was a very famous collector from the 1960s. He used to collect lots of stuff from
Yeah.
half of here.
Anyway, so there's an original of this in the Glenn collection, yeah.
Talman was a correspondent of Lovecraft's that worked for Texaco.
Yeah.
And he got in touch with Robert E. Howard through Lovecraft, and that's how they got the Ghosts of Camp Colorado.
Yeah.
When I ever wanted to reprint the Ghosts of Camp Colorado, I actually went through Texaco and talked to their library in White Plains, New York, and they still had the original printing of it from 19 whatever year it was, 31 or whatever it was, and were good enough to shoot me a very pristine copy and send it to me. So now, who's the guys in this one?
Well, let's look
That's
at that
not-
one.
Can you look at that one?
Let's look at that one. This is
Another one is.
Clyde's one of the guys, but
Yeah,
the other guys.
Patrice scan, I suppose if you go in the Patrice scan folder, I suppose
the
we'll
problem-
get
Those
the
are your TIFFs. and
Yeah,
they-
probably.
And for some reason, they
a little show.
vanished in my.
Scrappy, McKinnon, image.
You said you got
Yeah,
the
but
copy of the
what-
Texaco letter?
They're black.
Yeah.
Did it have the photos?
Wow. No, I was
They had these
Look,
original
this is-
photos that were placed into
This
it,
is
yeah.
what I got.
And
Wow,
Did Howard
okay.
shoot those photos?
Theoretically, yeah.
I don't know whether I didn't
And
wait long enough
whoever goes
to
TSS
download the
that
folder or
He
what.
said the photos were missing, or they in the TSS?
Do you have an internet connection from here?
There is a set
Internet
of,
connection?
I don't know, there's
Because the one
a
with the
set of
Esther
about
and Patch is
6
interesting.
just scene photos. And I don't know
Oh,
if those
the
are
Harold
the
Priest
same.
one.
I
Can you
never
share?
ever thought to make that
Harold
connection,
Priest?
so I'll have to go pull let's see if I still, where I have the scan of the pages and see what they are. Which one?
Earl Priest.
Harold Priest.
I'll take a look at that.
You're welcome.
Great job. Thanks. I needed a little more to do. Thank you.
It'll pay back.
There you go.
And here is Harold Priest. Priest was a correspondent of Bob. And we have a letter from March 1930 in which Patrice sends a photo to Bob. We don't have that photo, but we have this one, and pretty sure it is the exact same photo because this was sent to Lenore Patrice, his sister. And this is a good likeness of Patrice. Not going to make any comment on that.
Talk about growing into your ears.
Not much getting by him, yeah.
It's like Peter Lorre.
For any of you who might not recognize the name, Harold Priest was a friend of Bob's, and he wrote the essay "The Last Celt" that Glenn Lord used as the name of his, the title for his biobibliography of Howard. And this would have been, they were members of the Junto, a round-robin circular publication, and this would have been just at the tail end of the time that they were doing the Junto. Okay.
Good.
We're done.
Weeps off the table.
Okay. Unless you have any more questions?
What's the story behind the sword? Did he build those himself, or?
No, he supposedly had a collection of them that they, Kate Merriman said in the interview that on the day before Bob died, his dad knew he was going to try and kill him. They said they had to move all the guns and all the swords out, plural. So he apparently had a collection. So.
Oh, my goodness, where'd you get that?
Remember that?
Is that from
No,
the
they're actual military swords. There's an article online, SudanRocketSword.com, the sword of Robert E. Howard.
This is a photo for those who don't know the story. This is the infamous footstone of Robert E. Howard. That in 1986, the first formal Howard Days occurred, and and a small cast of Ray Hoopins showed up to get together, and then and Glenn took this. I've got the original photograph in the Glenn collection, and a few months later, somebody came and stole after it got broadcast in Ray Hoop, I guess, or I spread out, the word got out. Somebody went and stole this, and nobody knows where it's at now. So.
It was a lot worse shape when we found it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that's the photo that Glenn showed us when we were there in 1986.
Yeah.
So if anybody tries to sell you a footstone that has REH with periods, let us know.
Yeah, us and Texas State troopers would like to know. So.
Okay.
Are we good? Well, two more questions. Okay,
John has-
Do you have a better picture of Mustachioed Bob at the train depot?
No. The original.
The original's very small, very, very small.
And the scan we have is so quality, and the original to the print is now housed at the August Delev Archives. I don't know what the official title is, and I've been trying to get a really high-res scan.
There he is.
Yeah.
Didn't happen. Yet.
So this isn't too bad as a scan.
Yeah, but it's not that good.
It's not.
Look at the mustache.
Trying to match his eyebrows.
Look at those eyebrows.
And you can see there's no receding hairline.
Now you can't tell, actually, you can calm down.
Boy, it's hard to tell.
Can't tell really.
Again, it's one of those where the quality of the photograph is not such that we can really be sure about it.
I guess that weak chin and kind of full face makes us think, yeah, that's Howard.
Yeah.
We came in a little late, apologies, but did you guys talk about the Fort McCavitt photos?
Not yet.
No, actually.
No.
Because we think we identified where he was standing. I think somebody else may have done some research.
Yeah, it's not here now. It just
Bob and
left.
Rob did that
Yep.
several years ago. There was an article, and they published an article in the Sumerian magazine about it.
Yeah, we also, we talked to the park ranger fellow about it that was working there. He identified the place for people to go and visit in the future, so.
Yeah.
shouldn't be any trouble.
I was expecting you guys to talk more about your analytical work on that photo, but
Yeah, well, Rob stopped there. That was the last series of pictures
But-
in the power.
they meticulously went around looking for, what was the key element was one of the stones that you're standing next to,
There were
right?
some pretty prominent marks on the fireplace stones itself to the bottom of Howard's right.
Yeah.
And then on the wall behind, well, I can see it.
Yeah.
See that shim?
It's in the, yeah, right, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
You almost had it.
Right here?
And wait a minute, I want to see the airline of that one. This is
Right there, over-
1933.
And then look up to the stone in the top, it looks like a Texas star.
Here.
Right there?
Okay, now go to Bob's other side, and you can see right where his hand is in his pocket, that
Uh-huh.
stone that's embedded in the wall looks almost like maybe the silhouette of a pickup truck.
Oh, here?
Yeah,
Down.
no, you had it, Rusty.
Oh,
Yeah, that
yeah,
would,
right
that
here.
would have
Right,
been,
right,
yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
Now, the picture that I took of Rob standing in that very spot, I've taken Photoshop and put a circle around back, the star and the Texas, and missing Chevron's rock in 2005.
Yeah.
I would say it's,
Paul, zoom
And
in
yet,
the
and yet
airline.
nearly all of the rest of that's gone now.
yeah, yeah.
This is July 1933, by the way. No receding airline. Hello, Bill.
For us, when we visited Fort McCavitt, of course, we combed the area too and sweated and what have you. But for us, the identifying mark in that photo was that stone. Yeah, the one kind of next to his right thigh. See, we called that the Oklahoma stone. It looked like Oklahoma. And sure enough,
Okay.
we found that stone. The light was different, the angle was different, but that's how we figured it out. So between us and Rob, I mean, that has to be the place.
Oh, yeah. And end with Schlitz.
And the Schlitz. Mm.
Let's end with an appropriate Robert E. Howard Days photo. And of course, I don't know if everybody knows this, on the back, he had written, Schlitz didn't pay a penny for this endorsement.
You wrote, there it is.
And
Yeah,
probably won't.
and probably won't. This is also out of the Glenlard collection.
Well,
Okay, we're done.
thank you.
Stay tuned for the symposium.